I said it sucks to be a Florida Gator. Are you kidding me? Did Florida really think they had a chance to land the best coaching candidate in America right now, Mr. Lane Kiffin? Are you kidding me? And of course, we're going to talk about this game versus Mississippi State. I did not think in my career on Bauer Hour LSU that I would be doing Ole Miss versus Mississippi State post-game show. So I'm going to share with you what I have heard as far as Lane Kiffin picking LSU or Ole Miss. We also heard in the broadcast Dave Pash and Dusty Dvorak, they're able to talk to Lane Kiffin, and they're able to talk to Keith Carter. And, they said that on Saturday, Lane Kiffin, they would like an answer. But, it's one of those things where if I was Ole Miss and I were in that spot, I need to know why I'm even trying to hold Lane Kiffin to an ultimatum. The hell if he wants to go to LSU. You need to live in the present and let the man coach in the college football playoff. And then you get into would LSU allow Lane Kiffin to coach in the college football playoff. So I don't think we'll have an answer until by the earliest tomorrow. I doubt Lane Kiffin's just going to come out and say, hey, I'm going to LSU while his team celebrates the Egg Bowl. We're going to get a lot of cryptic Instagram posts of his team holding the bowl trophy. But, at this juncture, it really doesn't matter. It's either he's picking LSU or he's picking Ole Miss or he's going to do the most Lane Kiffin thing of all time and go to Auburn. But the big thing is that the Florida Gators are out. It looks as if it's going to be John Summerall. We a little update in the Discord. You can go find it in the Patreon as well. Please sign up now. Patreon.com/LSU football. Okay. So look, it is amazing how much steam LSU has had this entire process. I've gotten a player telling me that he believes Lane Kiffin's going to go to LSU. I've also gotten multiple sources myself. Once again, I'm not Mr. Insider here. I'm not Pete Thamel by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm going to look at you straight in the face before I get into any other comments for tonight's stream or this afternoon's stream. I think he's going to stay. I do. I believe he is going to stay at Ole Miss for this reason. Any competitor in life would tell you that leaving the team in this spot, even if you think LSU is the best job, if I was in Lane Kiffin's spot, let's just say I rose up the ranks of coaching and I've grown up an LSU fan my entire life, I just don't know if I was given an ultimatum, if you will. Hey, you either have to sign this extension and coach this team now, or you're not going to get to coach this team in the playoff. You're not going to get to coach this team potentially in the SEC championship game. You're not going to get a chance to see the season on out. So I am going to tell you, and this isn't me like two-signing it to make myself look good at all. Because if he does end up picking Ole Miss, this will make me look bad in terms of every single person out there basically saying, hey, he's going to LSU. Like literally, if you know anyone at all behind the scenes, it is all LSU. The On3 poll that they did of all the college football national analysts, it was overwhelmingly in favor of LSU. But my gut, which has shrunk, but gained again after what happened on Thanksgiving. My auntie T came in all the way from the 225 to make me her famous shrimp fettuccine and a delicious turkey and a delicious roast. My gut's big right now. It's telling me a lot of different things. My gut is telling me he's going to stay in Oxford. That is what my gut says. But that's not what people that really know stuff have told me. Okay, it's just not. It has always been an LSU lean. And also, those local reporters for the Florida Gators, you guys need new sources. You need new sources. Yeah, the Ole Miss insiders basically saying, you've been out of it for a week. And here's the thing. I don't know a gazillion Florida sources. I don't. You want to know why? Because the Florida Gators give me the ick. They do. I don't like them. But, we're citing some Florida reporters saying, hey, LSU is still in it. And all these people replying to me when I haven't been the one talking trash to Florida at all. And I saw them deleting their screenshots to me. Hey, guess what, Carter? Lane is already signed. Get no sources. Get no sources. You're fake news. I'm not going to do an impersonation. Huh? 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 So I'm going to be honest. I don't know what he's going to do, and you would be stupid to think anything is certain. He could be holding Todd Graves' dog, Raising Cane's, hopping into a private jet to Baton Rouge right now. He could have a meal at the supper club tonight. He could start speaking Creole. He could start doing a lot of different things. But until pen is to paper, and until I see him at a press conference, and honestly, until the next season even begins, you don't know what he's going to do. You don't. Could he take the Titans job? He's got a lot of friends in Nashville. Could he take it? His dad was an NFL coach. His dad made his hay in the NFL. This could be a shot. You don't know what he's going to do. All right. And I understand from a lot of you that have been watching this show for a very long time, you have told me repeatedly, Carter, I don't know if I want somebody that's flaky to come coach my team. And I get it. I totally get it. But here's the truth with Lane Kiffin. As someone who has been singing his praises on an LSU channel about a bitter rival coach, I have been emailed plenty of times, DM, message, whatever form of messaging you want to talk about, that I have been a Lane Kiffin glazer since 2021 and all the way up until here. I have been called a Lane Kiffin glazer. Carter, get off your knees talking about Lane Kiffin. And now here we are on bended knee, wanting to know if Lane is going to come to LSU. I am telling you right now, if you watch this game this morning, you saw why that this man is an elite football coach. Elite with a capital E. He is so good. I want you to think about what you witnessed, because a lot of you watch Egg Bowl. Unless you were doing Black Friday shopping where the deals really aren't deals at all. It's just a Ponzi scheme to get you to buy things. And guess what? I'm going to take advantage of this deal, this deal, this deal. And then you look at your receipt and it's like $756. I'm in Hobby Lobby. What the hell? I don't think a lot of you are Black Friday shoppers. I think you guys were watching the Egg Bowl. And you got to watch it unimpeded. Okay. There was no other college football games going on at the same time. How many times did Ole Miss miss wide open receivers down the field? So many times, and guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a Lane Kiffin coach team. Backup quarterback. Guess what? He looks amazing. Trinidad Chambliss all season long. He's not really had a bad game. The backup, Quan Lacey, had 2 carries last year in Missouri. He's great. He's great. Receivers hurt left and right. Who is Dijon Stribling? The Hawaiian. He's great. Lane Kiffin makes shit go. He makes it work. Now, defensively, this has been the big thing. How could a defense with Sage Ryan and a bunch of other cast-offs work when they had all these first-round picks leave last year's team? Well, I tweeted this stat out. I couldn't believe it. I never really deep dove into their defense, but the reason is they are the only SEC team that has played each of the bottom 6 offenses in the conference. So, as a lot of you know, Ole Miss doesn't play a difficult non-conference schedule, and you only play 8 SEC games. So, the 6 worst offenses is who they face this year. All right, and the other 2 is Georgia and Arkansas. And Arkansas is the worst team in the conference. So, as high as I am on Lane Kiffin, it is important to point out that every year in the college football playoff, at least in the 12-team era, we have seen teams that are very flawed, and Ole Miss isn't that great of a team. I don't think any of us think they're the best team in the SEC. They have had the good fortune of playing a weaker schedule. Okay, so that's part of it as well. Part of it. Because last year's team was way better than this year's team. Okay, so let's lock in. We'll get to as many comments as we possibly can. Kind of a weird live stream. And there we go. That fam says we were getting Lincoln Riley and Tom Herman and got O and BK. Coach O was great. Lane has already failed as an NFL coach, and he's failed miserably. Yeah. I do not think he's going to go to the NFL. I'm just saying, with Lane, anything can happen. Okay? Type Y for yes, type in for no if you can hear me loud and clear. I want to make this as interactive and fun of a live stream as I possibly can. I want to also discuss Florida's opening because I do think it's going to go to John Summerall. And obviously, if John Summerall goes to Florida, which we don't know what Florida's going to do. That means he's not going to go to LSU. All right. So this would be the second hire from a G5 Louisiana school to go to the Florida Gators. I'm okay with Summerall not going to LSU. The guy that really strikes fear into me is Kenny Dillingham. And I do think Florida has some interest there. I mean, I don't think that's one of the big names that they're after here. But Chris Lowe is really putting the foot on the pedal here for John Summerall to go to the Florida Gators. Okay. Now, where does that leave LSU? Let's just say Lane Kiffin doesn't pick LSU. What should the Tigers do? Well, let's just say Florida hires Alex Golish instead. Then Summerall comes back open. Do you go Summerall, which would be a defensive-minded guy? Do you want to do that? One thing that's interesting about LSU, and I want you to philosophically think this through. LSU has never, ever had an offensive wizard as its head coach. Never. Okay? Brian Kelly's offenses have always been relatively good, but I don't think anyone would consider him an offensive play calling mastermind, especially, sticking with Joe Sloan this final season. And then, of course, you had Ed Orgeron. And then the year before that, you had Les Miles. And Les Miles, as many of you know, even though he was an offensive guy, offensive line in particular, he's not an offensive mastermind. That's not someone we would consider to be of that ilk. And then, of course, you had Nick Saban before that. So what's crazy to really think about is you've never had a Lane Kiffin type lead your program. You haven't. And that's part of the reason why when this job was open a few years ago, I was like, man, could you imagine Lane Kiffin and Lincoln Riley if they had Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr.? Could you imagine that? It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. So that's part of the reason why I'm so high on LSU going after an offensive mind. And that key reason is because I want to see us fully unleashed offensively. And where that really starts is with our run game. All right. One reason why I was a drink guy, it's not happening. I don't want to talk about him again because if you talk about Elijah Drinkowitz, folks, you better watch the freak out. If you talk about drink, you do not want to talk about drink. All right. This is not Fred's Friday nights from 8 until 10, where all I want to do is talk about drinks. Don't do it. Don't you do it. He signed the extension. Clark Lee off the board now. He signed the extension. So some big SEC names are out. Doesn't look like LSU is going to go after my deep cut guy, Jeff Levy. I wouldn't do that. Once again, that was a deep cut guy. So, time's ticking. Time's ticking. Okay. Jeff says, I think Dillingham would be an excellent hire. I think Dillingham would be the second most popular name outside of Lane Kiffin at this juncture. Okay. Now, a few other things from today. We do play a football game tomorrow, and I do want to touch on it briefly, and then we'll get back into the Lane Kiffin dynamic here. Okay. We play Oklahoma tomorrow. And I think we have a very high likelihood of fielding one of the worst LSU offenses in the history of ever. I think we have the chance of fielding the single worst LSU offense we've ever seen tomorrow. I don't think it could get worse than Western Kentucky. It could get worse. Okay. So, once again, if I'm LSU, I am begging you to roll out the pocket. I'm begging you to split zone. I am begging you to do anything quick and just call plays where your offensive line has no bearing on the outcome of them. So that means heavy misdirection, tricks, anything you could think of. Another thing, when you're going to field such a colossally bad offense, you have got to slow this game down. All right. Which is weird because it goes against some of the things that I've been saying as far as I want this offense to move faster and I want them, to get in more of a rhythm, if you will. But when I meant faster, it's more, let's not do all these stupid substitutions because substitutions derail our offense mightily. All right. You've got to slow this game down and increase variance. Now, the good thing is the way Oklahoma has won a lot of games this year is stuff that is very difficult to replicate, right? It's been a lot of pick sixes, fumble recoveries, offensive player blows an assignment, and Oklahoma steps in to, clean up the mess, if you will. So R. Mason Thomas doesn't look like he's going to go. That was a guy that absolutely destroyed us last year, but they're still so elite. Number 10, Kip Lewis, is probably the best linebacker we have faced, and he is so underrated. I don't think people understand how good that dude is at football. So where he really excels is on blitzing. He is one of the best blitzing linebackers I have ever seen. So, yeah, we might be screwed tomorrow. But we do have Mansour Delane, and we do have a good defense. So we'll see what happens, okay? But if you guys don't want to talk Oklahoma, it seems like the chat does not want to do that at all. We'll get into more Lane Kiffin stuff, all right? MVP is mobile, though. Just not that mobile, all right? You can make a case that this is one of the slower quarterbacks that Oklahoma has faced this season. And MVP is not slow per se, but we'll see. Let's go to Dandy Donnie. That's an iconic LSU name. If you are an LSU fan, you've got to know who Dandy Don is. I don't think this is a descendant of Dandy Don, but there you go. Do I honestly think Lane has not decided yet? All right. Here's the thing, Dandy Don. I struggle with what Lane Kiffin struggles with. It is a thing that cripples me. And to get really personal, I made this mistake recently in my life regarding a pretty cool opportunity for me. But it wasn't anything like in my professional life, if you will. Lane has crippling indecisiveness. All right. I do too. The problem is I'm not as talented as him, and I'm not rich. Indecisiveness does not matter as much as if you're talented or if you're hot or if you're rich. And let's be honest, Lane is two of those things. And I think most of us would agree that he's rich. I'm kidding. He is a good looking male. All right. For 50. But I think most of us agree he's a decent looking human being. Okay. Indecisiveness can kill us all in many ways. I am the worst. I am literally the worst. Okay. And I struggle with that personally, professionally, all those different things. So the thing about indecisive people is that we're a different breed. We're always flip-flopping. That next thing we want to do. Do we want to go in this direction? Do we want to go here? Do we want to go there? Okay. So, I don't know if any of you agree with it, but I've never opened up about this. Like, it cripples me. Like, I will sit and sulk even when I have an opportunity to do two different awesome things. It's tough. It's really, really, really tough. Okay. And we got some Florida trolls in here. Let's see. I haven't been paying attention to this chat because it can get crazy. Let's go to Branson Cat. Yeah. If we get access to it, yeah, we'll play the post game presser. Okay. Let's go to Lisi. Man, I've wanted Dillingham before Lane. Just don't think it's in play. Let me be clear. I'd love to have Lane, and that's true. We've talked about this way long ago. But I feel like his emotions are going to get the best of him and keep him in Oxford. Okay. Let's go to Mike. So UF is a toxic option. LSU is the one who has had all the drama with not wanting to pay former coach until forced to, and also the governor sticking his nose into the mix. Okay. You want to know why Florida is a toxic option? Because Gainesville sucks. There are 16 SEC schools. The one that I have the deepest disdain for is Florida. So even if what you said is factually correct, I don't give a shit. I really don't. Florida sucks. They always will suck. And there is a piece of me that hates that we won't play them every year yet again. Okay. But you suck, and you got to live with yourself for how much you do suck. There's nothing great about Gainesville. It's probably maybe the 17th or 18th best city in Florida. And even with the name like Joey Freshwater, he wants nothing to do with that state. That is what Lane basically told all of the Florida Gator fan base. It's not that you haven't had great players. It's not that you guys have not, produced some peaches of human beings. Go down the list. Aaron Hernandez is probably the finest individual. I'm kidding. big joke. Big joke. But truth is, I just do not like the Florida Gators. I just do not like them. And when I was young, I almost got caught up in the Florida hype because when you're little, you're just like, oh, okay, they have bold, bright colors and they're winning and all the Rex Grossman. And I was little when that was happening, and thank God I do not have to deal with that. Ooh, it sucks to be a Florida Gator. So why is Florida toxic? Well, another specific reason is it is wild to me how many freaking leaks during the end of the Napier tenure there were. I'm telling you right now, people that aren't even national insiders, people that are like me, that are just like regular analysts that have some sources, every single one of them was reporting that Billy Napier is going to get fired the weekend after that Mississippi State game or whatever game it was. Scott Strickland is asinine. He is over his head, and he has been for so long. And I promise you, this will be the biggest takeaway that you will take from anything that I will say today. Half of having a long shelf life as an athletic director is just looking like what we think of an athletic director, how we think they should look, right? If you have gray hair and you're in your mid 60s and you're a somewhat skinny white guy, you're going to have a long leash. Like it is ridiculous. Like there's 1,000 different things you can point to about Strickland. All right. Yeah, sure. Golden, great hire. Great hire. Okay. Dude's best coach in college basketball, arguably. He's great. I'll give you that. But my goodness gracious. Branson Cat, thank you so much. But I'm serious. All right. If Scott Woodward looked like Scott Strickland, I think he would still have a job. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. People in Baton Rouge hated Joe Oliva, hated his guts. Why did he last forever at LSU? He looks like an AD. It's just an observation. But Strickland sucks. I would not trust him to make this next hire. Let's go to Branson. But I always listen during your 5 a.m. runs. So Branson Cat sells insurance. If you need some insurance, hit me up. I'll get you in contact with Branson Cat. He says, can you break down when we think the Lane Kiffin news will break? And this is the single biggest question that I get. And you just don't know. Like, and I'll go on this rant again because you might be just not joining us. And the Team Thompson Bass Fishing guys in here. Every time I see your photo, I keep thinking in the back it says MILF Fishing. Now that's why I keep, and I was like, I'll be the bait. But no, it's good to see you. Thank you for your super chat. But this is the thing with Lane. All right. If we were waiting on John Summerall, don't just say John Summerall was in that spot, he's probably just going to take the job. But even if Lane tweeted out literally a tiger emoji, I'm just not going to believe it. I'm honestly still not going to believe it until he is in a press conference in BR. And honestly, you really can't believe it until then. We've seen this recently, albeit with an offensive coordinator. Ryan Grubb was the OC, and the Seahawks came coming, and he left, and now he's back at Alabama, obviously. Until Lane is on the sideline next week, I'm not going to believe it. And part of that is because I am a Lane fan. All right, so I know that's like a cop-out answer, but that's just how it is with them. Okay, so let's get into the doomsday scenario. What would be the worst scenario for LSU? It's not Lane turning us down now. All right, if Lane turned us down now and said, "Look, guys, you have to understand. I've got to see this out." I think Verge, as a former player at LSU, would be like, "Yeah, I get it. You're a competitor. You want to see it out." Okay. But the worst thing would be if he were to go to Verge and say, look, I'm coming. And obviously, if Lane were to pick LSU, every single one of us is going to be tweeting. We're going to be tweeting, but also all the powerful people are going to be tweeting. You'll have Governor Landry tweeting. Now, you don't know what that's going to sound like. Okay. So all those things are going to happen, right? Then this is what's wild. Let's just say Alabama loses the Iron Bowl. And then next week, Penn State is like, Kalen, look, it's going to be easier here at Penn State than at Alabama. Everybody in the SEC is good. There's only 2 programs better than yours here. Come to town. Or if DeBoer is a West Coast guy, let's say USC opens up. Lincoln Riley wants to go to Penn State or Lincoln Riley wants to go to Florida or wherever, Texas Tech. DeBoer's a West Coast guy. What if DeBoer wants to go back to the West Coast? Alabama's open. That's the job Lane wants. Okay? Or only he can answer that. So the doomsday scenario isn't Lane Kiffin accepting the job. It's him accepting the job and leaving before next season begins. Now, here's the thing. It wouldn't be the worst thing if Lane Kiffin only had 1 season at LSU and he took an NFL job or whatever. Okay? But him doing that and then changing his mind again could hurt. Okay? let me ask Ronnie this, and this is a question for anyone. What would be the most epic way for Lane Kiffin to announce that he's going to LSU? You tell me, what would be the most epic way? All right. This would be this would be how I think he should do it. And this is kind of cringe because people do this with Kobe Bryant all the time. A player wins the championship and they recreate the Kobe picture, him sitting in that bathroom with the cigar and holding the jacket, whatever. But if Lane Kiffin recreated the Joe Burrow cross-leg cigar photo, because they're going to have cigars after the Egg Bowl. They do it every year. And he have an LSU hat on, that'd be pretty epic. You want Lane to get some Croots, though, immediately? A photo of him and YB. Oh, man, a photo of him and YB would do numbers. Numbers. Or Boosie. If you don't know who YB is, it's my YB is Boosie. Okay. That would be the most epic way. Speaking of music, I have a message for LSU fans. Okay. And we're going to get to some of your responses here in just a moment. I have a message for LSU, and this actually isn't for LSU fans. This is for the powers that be at Louisiana State University. Power Hour Network listeners and viewers, you might be consuming this content with that crick in your back that you've been trying to get rid of for so long. Take this as your sign today to book your appointment with LabourdTherapy.com. In the Lafayette region, there is no one that you will find that cares more about any different type of pain that you might have than the team at LabourdTherapy.com. Book today. Once again, that's LABORDE therapy.com, or you can visit one of their 5 locations all throughout the Lafayette region. Louisiana State University. We can't just have a Zach Bryan concert. I'm sorry. That is unacceptable. Now, you can't announce a big concert series and it'd be Zach Bryan. Well, Connor, he sells out stadiums. I don't know. Not Zach Bryan. Come on. We can do better than that. And this isn't a Carter hates country thing. It's not that. I was a country DJ for 5 years. I know good country music, and Zach Bryan's good. Okay. We'll never have Garth Brooks in there again. But, man, Lainey Wilson, somebody, not Zach Bryan. Why couldn't it be Zach Bryan with Webby opening? I don't know. Something. It can't, if you're going to announce a concert series, can't just be Zach Bryan. Sorry. Can't do it. Can't do it. Okay. Right there, baby. Like a good neighbor. But Branson Cat, I know, but Branson Cat, I think Branson Cat's a Zach Bryan fan. I get it. He's good. Sherry Berry, longtime patron. She's gotten a lot of shit right. I don't know, Carter. I think LK is staying at OM. I'm just Sherry Berry. Dakota says post-game conference in with an STTDB. Okay. I'm just saying, like, Zach and Gavin DeGraw. I mean, come on. Now, if Donovan is opening for Zach Bryan, I'm okay with it. As you can see, Donovan's performed at Marina Lambert's Shebang Bang. I can get down with well, I've seen Miranda in Tiger Stadium, so I don't want to see that again. I love Miranda. Ask my wife about my Miranda fandom. I can get down some deep cut. All right, let's see if we can get some Lane Kiffin audio. No, he's not at his presser just yet. Okay. Now, let's get into what I think. All right. So Lane Kiffin has already told Taylor McGregor, and we started like right before he did his post game interview. And he did, and I probably should have waited until the post game interview was over. That's just bad for me. But he did say he's going to do a lot of praying and soul searching before tomorrow. Okay. It's not good for LSU fans. Okay. You would have liked to have heard him say, yeah, I have a decision made and I'll announce it tomorrow. But I'm telling you right now, as a indecisive person, what is actually with you at the moment, which might not be better for you long term, is what you're probably going to roll with. Okay. Just telling you. And here's the thing, not every coach is indecisive. It's just not how it is. Okay. Like there have been some big name head coaching moves, some that have been considered lateral, and it was relatively decisive. They were confident in doing that, right? One that happened recently was John Calipari. Okay. It was not Arkansas's athletic director that got him there. He was a longtime friend with the biggest Arkansas booster. And, he made a step down, if you will. And he was decisive about it. Of course, he's torn. He's a Hall of Famer at Kentucky. But based on what I know, it's not really a rear view type of thing. It was, hey, I'm doing this. It's going to be bold. And there you go. Now, let me see. I do want to, when I was making some notes for this live stream, I do want to talk a little bit about the Arkansas opening. And the reason I think it's relevant is there are so many openings. Okay. And even though we're not competing for the same coaches that Arkansas are going after, let's just say Arkansas hires Alex Golish, who I think is good. Okay. So, Golish's record at USF is not that great. What I would say, though, is that offense is an offense that we struggled with a few years ago. And once again, it's a few years ago. We haven't had to play Tennessee over the past couple of years, but that is a bitch of an offense to prepare for. All right. And that's what Alex does. He runs what Heupel does. And the thing I like about Golish is let's just say LSU were to magically hire him. You're going to get a really good year of quarterback play from Byron Brown, their quarterback, who is a dual threat, who can, of course, move the pile with his legs. Now, notice I said move the pile with his legs. Brown's thick, all right? And I don't need to go on my rant about thick college football players again, all right? But, when it comes to the Southeastern Conference, I don't want to be small. And I hate that because I, growing up, was a small athlete. I was 5'7". I was 185. I was a defensive tackle. And I would go to some of the camps with, like, guys that actually played good college football, and I would just get mauled. But I freaking have watched SEC football my entire life. What wins is thickness. Fat asses. Force equals mass times acceleration. Moving bodies. That is always what's won in college football. Force. And when you look at our offense, we're small. Okay. So, Golish, he would bring in his QB. And then that gets us into why I'm such a big Lane Kiffin guy is Lane is not QB dependent. He is not QB dependent. I agree with Vanderbilt's decision to extend Clark Lee. I do. I think Clark Lee would have had a market. Sometimes when you extend a coach, you're like, what other coach is actually going to go get this guy? Like when Pittman fired his agent, hired Jimmy Sexton, and Sexton forced Arkansas to give him a crazy contract, who was going to get Sam Pittman? All right. So Clark Lee, I think, would have had a market. But what would Clark Lee be without Diego Pavia? You don't know. You do not know. But part of getting Clark Lee extended was Jared Curtis, right when that Clark Lee extension was announced. Steve Wilfong predicted the flip of Jared Curtis to Vanderbilt, and Fong just does not miss. Okay. But Lee is that extension is as much Pavia, if anything. It's not the case with Lane. It's just not. Okay. Lane is going to get QB right. Tell him, Sherry. I'm going to get hats made like my friend Daily Joy, SEC thick. I just thickness. That's what I like. Gotta have it. Okay. And the funny thing is like my wife is skinny. And I'm thick. But yeah, I like thickness in the Southeastern Conference. I just want to get bigger. Quan Lacey is a load. He is a load. You know, Logan Diggs was not a small guy. You watch Logan Diggs go in the game after Quan Lacey. Quan Lacey, it was a drop-off, right? So the next thing you got to worry about as an LSU fan is it doesn't matter who your head coach is going to be if you don't have a quarterback. And what did I do because I'm a sicko? Well, last night I watched Joe Burrow play quarterback, and once again, like really think about yesterday on Thanksgiving, we got to watch Jordan Love and Jared Goff. Then we got to watch Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes have the best quarterback duel of the season. And then while Lamar played like trash, Joey B showed you what quarterbacking is supposed to look like. Throwing touchdowns to Tanner Hudson of the South Arkansas University Mule Riders. Okay. We saw all that great quarterbacking. So I was like, you know what, Carter? Grind the tape. Dig out the all-22. Find LSU's next quarterback. And the guy that you guys have telling me you want is Bailey, the dual threat out of NC State. Young guy. Number 11. Kid can play. Kid can move, too. A guy I like a lot is Brandon Washington. Out of Maryland. He could play. Number 7. Has great touch on his passes. Does he really want to run it back with Mike Locksley, dead man walking? Even though they said they've already brought him, they're going to bring him back again? If you were to pick a quarterback that would remind you of Trinidad Chambliss, the young man out of Maryland's good. So, you know, who's your QB going to be next year? I do think LSU is already starting to turn the pages on that. Okay. HSC says Bailey's not really dual threat. Well, he can run. He can run. I mean, I saw quite a few red zone touchdowns. $74 for 150. So he's probably what, an MVP level runner? So if you want more juice, then you would need to go elsewhere. But this was really the first time I sat and watched him. Only really bad game was the Notre Dame game. And then Miami as well. So when he played the tougher competition. But yeah, he can move. So Sherry Berry wants to talk about Dylan Raiola. I want to talk about somebody who doesn't run. Let's see. Dylan Raiola, 46 rushes for negative 87 yards rushing this year and 27 sacks. He did take 9 in a game. I don't know. I don't know if I'm a Raiola. Okay. But no, yeah, to your point, I do need to put levels on it, right? Like, I mean, he can run some. He's not an elite runner, but I would consider him more athletic than Michael Van Buren. I would. And definitely Garrett Nussmeier. Okay. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. You're Mississippi State, and you saw what your QB did today, Kamario Taylor. Holy moly. What a performance. I mean, be honest. The touchdown run that Kamario Taylor had today was Jaden Daniels level good. Okay. Be honest. It was that good. If that was Jaden Daniels making that run, you'd be like, oh, I've seen that. That run was ridiculous. He's a true freshman, too. Okay. So let's see if we can get to the. All right. All right. I'm going to keep looking for Lane Kiffin audio. That's what I'm waiting on here. And then we'll react. Okay. I'm going to get kind of nerdy here, if you don't mind. So the thing that sucks about the Lane Kiffin press conference is the worst place to do a press conference is in the visitors' media tent. It's always not good because think about it. You're only using the visitors' media press area for 7 times a season for your 7 home games. So that's the last thing of importance that resources are given to, right? The LSU visiting press area is like, okay, but it's never really that big. Okay. So WDSU is running it live. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, and I just listened to it. Okay. Not Juan sucking me off. Great podcast, Carter. Unlike the LSU fans in the comments, you actually have intelligence. Hey now, Jeffrey, don't get on Juan. He's complimenting this noggin of mine. Juan, I appreciate the glaze, bro. But dude, you just can't insult my audience. We have got smart people in here. Okay. I'm not gonna let that happen. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm gonna answer as many questions as we possibly can. If you super chat, we'll keep it going. I do a Georgia Bulldogs show on the SEC channel, and they are playing. I have no idea what the score is. But them dogs, dude, you want to watch a fun offense. Oh, the NFL is on today, too. Got some Black Friday NFL action. It's the only game, too. Check the Georgia score. Okay, Georgia Tech. And pull up right when it's a 4th down. Georgia's red zone offense has been so good this year. They use the QB run game. And there you go, QB run game. Good stuff. I wanted a design run, though. Oh, don't kick the field goal, Kirby. Be a man, Kirby. Boom. RIP presser. I want to play it. It's just so low. So I'm gonna try and get some. I'm gonna try and get some good audio, and we'll play it. Okay. Yeah, Juan, but you can't insult my audience. Okay, because if you come after me, you're coming after everyone in here right now. Even the Florida fans that support me. You do not insult their intelligence. God, dude. I don't think we're gonna get good audio. I want to get good audio. Let's go to Colin Davis. This is the first time I've really found your channel. Do you cover anything other than football for LSU? Yeah. Power Hour SEC. I cover the entire SEC. And then Power Hour NFL for my NFL breakdowns. And I'm always up front. I'm mostly for the Power Hour SEC. Mostly focusing on Georgia. Georgia's probably been the number one team on there this year. Tennessee, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. Okay. But I do all the teams. And then at the NFL channel, Chiefs, Saints, Jaguars, Jaguars, and that's about it. It's hard. Yeah, I know. So I'll just play this audio, Branson, and I'll let you decide if you can hear it. And I'll look for another source. So this is via WDSU.
Just to watch our players at the end, and I told them last night, as you get older and you get joy out of it, especially your children, which players a lot of times are similar. And I just wanted them to get to 1-0 today. So just like every time we've been in the stadium and watched them go over there to the fans, the big gold trophy, and be able to celebrate that alone, just, winning the Egg Bowl. And then on top of that, for them to, win 11 regular season games. And we talked a lot about Coach Carroll, you saying, do things better than they were ever done before. And they just did that. No one in the entire state's ever had 11 regular season. So that's pretty cool, especially when the SEC's never been harder and deeper than it is now. So that's an amazing accomplishment by them. And, I know the storyline about distractions all week and stuff. And I would just say, and I want to say during the week, we build our teams differently. So what you may think is distracting, as I understand our fan base or media, I don't think it is. And we train our guys from the beginning when we get them and build our teams to focus on what they can control and block out noise. And shoot, the last FAU, we play our last game there. That morning there's an announcement, that we're coming here, actually. And, we're in the conference championship that day. So all our players know next year we go out and win 49-6 in the game. So I think we just train our players that way. I wasn't concerned this week, and they've been doing it for a month, so I would say maybe what, we teach our players and our staff a lot of times, that what you think might be really bad might be good. And so maybe you should think the other way, that all that distraction and all the noise outside bonds them together because they know their team, their coach, their coaches, and so they don't worry about that stuff. And everybody says, well, they're going to be distracted. They're not going to play well, or they should want a different coach. I think bonds them together to stay focused and to play really well. And I'm not the coach for those we got a lot of ones that cover us. If the field goal goes in at the end and you just win some game or get some call by a ref, I'm not one to say that means you played extremely well that day. Our guys played well, whatever, probably 24, 10 or 13 run, once we get that last touchdown at the end of the first half. And if you're distracted and you don't have 0 negative plays the entire day on offense, not one play, not a sack, not a turnover, not a negative run for a yard, that's players executing really well and doing great. So I'm really happy for them. And it's a heck of an accomplishment. They did something that no one's ever done before. And they did it in a really good style today. Played clean football, kind of said at halftime, man, our programs are built different. But we build players to execute and play really well. Like they say down a lot. We want to make Sports Center for making good plays, not try to make Sports Center for starting fights. So, that was disappointing earlier in the game, but I was really proud of our players, how their players all left their bench, including their AD, and our players stayed on our bench, like their coaches do. So play football. We did that today.
Lane Keith released that statement last week saying that there's going to be announcement by tomorrow on your future. Have you made any sort of decision yet?
Yeah, I haven't. Maybe that surprised you. But I guess I gotta do some praying and figure this thing out. I know today, I can get to that tomorrow. I live life about one day at a time. Maybe that doesn't help you, but I've learned to live that way for about 6 years now, 5 years. That helps me. And so today, it's all about these players performing really well and keeping this Egg Bowl trophy where it belongs. And then, tonight, I'm going to go be a dad and watch a more important game to me and watch Knox play in the North Division, North State Championship versus Tupelo tonight. So, Coach Cutcliffe, senior, he was on the sidelines last week of the game. His son's the coach, and he walked over. He's like, "Man, isn't this like more intense than being the head coach in the games?" I'm like, "No, it's not." but it's more enjoyable. So I'm excited for that tonight. What a Fisher Ray, one of our assistants, said a couple weeks ago, man, he's like, this thing played out, and you could be 11-1, win the Egg Bowl on the exact same day if they kept winning. The Knox would be playing the North State Division or North State Championship. It's an awesome day. Very fortunate. Got a lot of really good things in my life. Thanks to God.
Do you plan on making a decision tomorrow?
I got it. So, but not as enjoyable as people might think it is. But like Kirby says, when he wants to complain about being in the national championship and missing the portal window, I was like, there's no crying from the yacht. So I'm not trying to get pity, but it's not as enjoyable as maybe some people would think.
Does winning today and making the playoff make it more difficult?
I think it's difficult no matter what. I think that there is a relief that we played like I thought I would. Like I thought they would today. I did think they would play like this, and but you never know. And so I am relieved for that because if we didn't play well today, we all know what the storyline would be. It would be my fault for having them distracted and stuff. So I'm really glad that we proved that narrative, which is a fair narrative for people to write. I think a lot of our fans felt that way this week. Understandable, but they don't know our room. They don't know how we train them and how they think.
Lane, after the game, at one point, it looked like you were admiring the Ole Miss crowd. There was a lot of powder blue in that side of the stadium. What was going through your mind in that moment?
Just over the years, and then like, just really cool. That's what, third time we've been here, third time emptying out their stadium, and then watching that crowd do it, and that game, and then Jackson Dart, and watching Trinidad carry that trophy, just I said that when I said to him, like this is just gives me so much joy to see them be able to do something like this, and so to watch these guys come together, like they came from everywhere. I bet you on offense we don't have any players that play from the state of Mississippi. Think about that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think we have any. So that's a different story that you have to have in the state players to win. But think about that. So they came from all over the place to come together to do this, to win, and then bring joy to all the fans, which are from Mississippi. Obviously, it's just a really cool story, and you can't get a better story than Trinidad. Guys in Division II playing in front of 500 people, and today he goes for 359 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks, and some critical runs in a rivalry game that records don't mean when you go into them. They're not going to come out flat today. They never do. And so, and they did a lot. They put zero out of them a ton of times, and tried to hit the big plays, and sometimes it just held. They just saw. But Trinidad did some really good things today.
Mike, has there been some frustration over the last couple of weeks? I saw you post-game. There was an incident right before you went into the locker room, and it just seemed like you were a little bit upset maybe about some things that come out over the last couple of weeks, or how things have gone the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think, I understand you guys' job, and I think things are fair. Like I say, with questions come, those are fair questions. Maybe I can't answer them. Maybe I don't see them the same. But when you call someone a hoe, that's a different level of stuff. Can't make hoes into housewives, or something like that. That's about as bush league as stealing Trinidad's jersey, like Mississippi State did last night. Luckily we got another one, but so I ain't got any respect for that.
I don't either, but that wasn't the comment. The comment was, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, hoes don't act right. It's not calling you a hoe. It's about commitment. And that's what really the question is. You wanted the commitment from people were asking about where you're committed to. You're still not doing so. So you don't think there's anything wrong with getting upset about something so innocuous as that, paying attention after a win, especially in the Red Bowl?
Yeah, let's move on to that. Next question.
Lane, what's the
No,
most
actually don't even know your name.
Lane, what's the most difficult part of the decision that you have to make? Is there one aspect of it that you labor over the most?
There's a lot into it, and I don't, it's the hard decisions. You guys have them all the time. You got to make decisions about, jobs you take and where you move and all those things. And again, we get paid a lot, so understands ours is, under a different spotlight and scrutiny. But, a lot of people that are critical of it are the same people that they do it all the time. They make decisions and, they got to figure out the best things to do. In other professions, it's a little easier because you get to go to places and, they bring you there and you go for a weekend, you see all the schools and neighborhoods and all the stuff, and then you make the decision. Our jobs are more difficult that way.
All right, so that's via WDSU. And I'll link it here. Big shout out to them. I'm not gonna play their whole thing though. All right. If you want to see the full thing, go right there. Okay. But I do want to show you the hoe to the housewife thing. Okay. That's what they were. I'll provide some extra context. So there was a pretty heated exchange after the game. Okay. This Trey Wallace guy is always good. I don't know, Trey. Okay. I'm just going to put his page up here. You can see all his videos. So, once again, it's really hard to hear him with that.
Said you were going to be a dad tonight,
Yeah.
later tonight, probably have to make a decision.
Okay. It's up there.
And then in the morning, not asking you to give out names, but do you have a group of people that you can rely on for something like this?
Yeah, I do. I miss my dad.
That's it.
I really missed him this week. And so, my two calls will be the closest to that from advice what my dad would say to do on these things. And that'll be Coach Carroll and Coach Saban. Kind of wish when you had things to do in life that your dad wasn't there, but or your dad was there. But it's what it is.
I feel that, man. Yeah, it's tough. No matter if he picks LSU or whatever. Yeah, yesterday was my first holiday season without my father-in-law. And he was an awesome, awesome, awesome man. Okay. So this is what the hoe to the housewife thing was. So there was a reporter, his name's Ben, Spirit Ben. Okay. And he had some words. He said, you don't turn a hoe or whatever. I hate using that word all the time. But we all have known a few. Okay. So here's Lane after the game. This is Trey Wallace once again.
So you want to walk in here and call me a hoe? We'll see how it goes.
Damn, dude. Walk him down. This bro walked him down. Walk him down, bro. What's that song? Walk him down.
So you want to walk in here and call me a hoe? We'll see how it goes.
He said, do you want to walk in here and call me a hoe? We'll see how it goes. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
So you want to walk in here and call me a hoe? We'll see how it goes. So you want to walk in here?
He said, I'm trying to. Once again, Trey Wallace, you got to follow the guy, man. Dude's always getting the thing. Crazy. Crazy. Sheesh. And God, dude. Woo, woo, woo. And I'm just thinking to myself, have I ever called an LSU coach by something like that? I don't think I ever called an LSU coach a hoe. I would need to go back and listen to whatever the reporter said about him. I'm telling you, that's oh man. The top rope, dude. Once again, that's via Trey Wallace, not mine. Go follow Trey. That's a great reporter name too, Trey Wallace. That just rolls off the tongue. We're trying to get him on the show next week. Bro had the sickest Garth Brooks hat I've ever seen. Zachariah Branch, dude, is filthy. And they're doing the Ronaldo celebration. Damn. Nasty work, dude. They did this. Whee! I think he's from Georgia, too. Let's see what this move was. It was just an out. Cut back on him, Zach. Cut back on him. Like it's still just crazy. I understand that they've had the easier schedule. One thing that's so key, and this is even more important in the Big Ten than in the SEC because we're going to 9, and I cannot reiterate enough that when the SEC schedule goes to 9, you're not going to be able to duck as many opponents as you're able to duck this year. So in the 8-game conference schedule in the Southeastern Conference, it is just so much easier to duck. Okay. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Is Ole Miss a good team? Yes. Very good team. Are they lucky? Yes. Because the weakness is their defense. And you'll see that they have played South Carolina, the worst offense. Kentucky, the second worst offense. LSU, the third worst offense. Florida, the fourth worst offense. Oklahoma, the fifth worst offense. So they put a 26. And then they played the sixth worst offense in the SEC today in Mississippi State. Okay. So Ole Miss didn't have to play Ahmad Hardy in Missouri. Ole Miss didn't have to play Marcel Reed in Texas A&M. Ole Miss didn't have to play Joey Aguilar in Tennessee. They had to play Georgia and Arkansas. So Arkansas, who's had the best offense for most of the season, they played them, but they played them in week 2, and they played them, and they're the worst team. They're the worst team in the SEC by probably a margin right now. It's either them or us, honestly. And they also avoided Pavia and Vanderbilt. And this is part of the luck of coaching, right? So this is how lucky they've been. Ole Miss every year in the cross-division rival era. So this was like 3 years ago. They got to play Vanderbilt every single season. All right. So Vanderbilt is the easiest draw in the SEC before Pavia and Lee. Okay. And when the SEC expanded and they changed the schedule, when Vanderbilt got really good, which they have been over the past couple of seasons, they are no longer on Ole Miss's schedule. So Ole Miss got maximum benefit of the matchup versus Vanderbilt. Okay. You have film on his wife. Whose wife? That's the weirdest comment I think I've ever gotten. For Spirit Ben to go live. You know what the weird thing about the Spirit Ben comment is? But yes, the film study from Ole Miss is already up. It's on the SEC channel. Okay. It's already up. The whole game on the SEC channel. I cut it while it was going on. Not the whole game, but most of the offensive plays. So just go to Power Hour SEC. Here's the weird thing about the Spirit Ben thing. So I actually know a little bit about him, and true story. Before I share this, I tried to get Spirit Ben. I don't know his last name. I tried to get him on the channel this week. I didn't know he said the whole comment though. I was just looking for somebody from Ole Miss, and that was the top guy. And I was like, well, swing for the fences. And what was funny was the Spirit Ben had actually gotten let go earlier this year. All right. And On3 quickly hired him back. And there was a whole shebang about that. So he's like the most beloved Ole Miss reporter. I don't know in this beef, because let's just say Brian Kelly was winning like that, and I said something about Brian Kelly like that, never would LSU fans be on my side. But in this case, I'm not sure if the Ole Miss fans are going to be on Ben's side or Lane's side. And this is the thing that I would keep coming back to with Lane Kiffin. And this is, and I truly do mean this. If I were to go to Lane Kiffin and I could convince him for a reason to come to LSU, I would tell him all about our culture, our fan base, how much I love him, and all his offense and all of that. And I don't love him because, well, he's coached in Alabama and Ole Miss, but him as a coach, his scheme, his coaching style, all of it, I love it. Okay. It's my dream for him to come to LSU. But what I would say is, who is Ole Miss to talk to Lane Kiffin like this? That is all I got to say about this. Why do you think you can talk to the man who did this, who made you relevant? Why do you think that? All Ole Miss has been is a few Hugh Freeze upsets over Alabama and a few Bo Wallace games versus LSU. That's it. That's all your program has been. That's all you've done. But Carter, he's thinking about going to the rival school. And so what? So what? This man gave you 6 years. 6 years. It's the longest he's ever been at any stop. And for the way that some Ole Miss fans have talked to Lane this week, yeah, you're free to your opinion. But I would never, ever, ever speak to the man that made my entire program relevant the way that some Ole Miss fans have spoken to Lane. Now, the only thing I have said, and I've made this point a few times, the only thing I have gotten corrected on is that I would have thought the locker room would be more in favor of Lane and what he's going through right now. That is simply not the case. That is not the case. I've had this confirmed. There was an entire position group that doesn't like Lane right now. And I get it. Totally understand it. Okay. But other than that, it is amazing how fans have tweeted at Keith Carter, hey, get this guy the hell out of here. Get him out. I don't want him coaching the Egg Bowl. Really? You're going to talk to Lane Kiffin like that? You're really going to talk to him like that? You just won 11 games. Ole Miss or Mississippi State has never done that. He did this after losing Walter Nolan. He did this after losing Trey Amos, Chris Paul, all these amazing players, Jared Ivey, Jackson Dart, Trey Harris. You lost your best quarterback. You lost your best wide receiver. Lost your best defensive tackle. Lost your best defensive end. Lost your best off-ball linebacker. Lost your best corner. And lost your best safety. And guess what? You this season have not been better at any of those guys, any of those positions I just named. And you're still 11-1. That's how good this guy is at coaching football. And you're going to address him like that? Really? That's what you're going to do? In 2025? 11-1? You're hosting a play. Oxford, Mississippi is hosting a playoff game. Good luck booking a room at the Graduate. Good luck getting a table at the library. Good luck getting the Golden Tee machine at the library. The place is going to be pandemonium. One man did that. One man. And you're going to say, well, I don't want him coaching that. Who the f are you? Who are you? Who are you to talk to this man like that? Who are you to talk to this man like? Who are you? What? Am I taking crazy pills? You could be upset. You could be very upset, especially with it being the rival. But the volume of Ole Miss fans acting irrationally, and Lane called Keith Carter's bluff. All this ultimatum BS. F that. Lane dropped his you-know-what and said, I'm coaching this Egg Bowl, and if you want to cancel me all you want. Operator, put me on two. Semi-love down at Baton Rouge. Speaking of love in Baton Rouge, that's where his daughter's love is. That's where Knox could potentially be the starter at U-Higher Catholic. And you want to talk to Lane Kiffin like that? Jeez. Whew. That is probably the most lunacy thing I've ever seen. You're not saying that shit now, are you? Pegasus, there's a difference in being upset and a difference in trying to rush this guy out the door. Like, there's a huge difference. Huge. I'm telling you right now, if we were Ole Miss and LSU was in this spot, and let's just say the roles were totally reversed, I swear to God, on everything holy, I would not be saying what the Ole Miss fans have said about him, but some of these YouTubers. And I don't know the spirit being guy. But to call Lane Kiffin a gardening tool and not expect to get checked? Can't do that. You cannot do that. And I understand it was in a different context or whatever. No. It's part of the reason why, like, with Saban, yeah, I would jokingly get into, hey, F this guy, left us at the altar, all that stuff. But That was only when he was at Alabama, right? Like, if you're one of those guys, it's like, well, I don't want Saban to ever come back to Baton Rouge. Don't lie. When he was with Game Day last year, and there was a photo of Nick Saban for the first time at the LSU practice facility with all the national championship banners, and he wasn't draped in Alabama gear, you probably got chills because he started that shit. He is the reason we are where we are right now. Nick did. And Miss Terry. I had the good chance to interview Nick. At the end of the interview, I told him thank you for starting everything at LSU. True story. Someone tracked it. It was a plane tracker. Gave me the info. Met him at the hangar. There's nobody else there except a few high school coaches and a few of the Alabama people off the plane. And Nick was gracious enough to give me 5 minutes. And I told him at the end, thank you. Because he changed my life. How many LSU students went to LSU because the football team's good? It's Nick. Do you know how much money is being pumped into Oxford right now? How many people in the state of Mississippi not even ever thinking about ringing a cowbell? And you're trying to kick him out the door? And let's just say, and this is why this is so stupid to me. This is why it's so stupid. Why on earth, okay, if you are, let's just say you're Ole Miss, and let's just say Lane is already decided he's going to LSU. And Lane goes to Keith Carter's face and says, hey, LSU has given me an unprecedented option. They told me I could still coach the team in the postseason. If Keith Carter said no, that would be the single dumbest decision I've ever seen an athletic director make. Because I'm telling you right now, the next coach is likely not going to do what Lane Kiffin did here. All right? Or will continue to do here. I don't know what he's going to do. But the only thing in the grand scheme of things that everybody cares about are national championships. You can get hot and win this thing. You can get hot. It's probably not likely. Last year's team would have been the one to do it. Last year's team, if last year's Ole Miss's team played this year's Ole Miss's team, last year's Ole Miss's team would be favored by 7.5. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Last year's team is destroying this year's Ole Miss's team. But if you're telling me that this guy could give me a shot at winning a national championship, I'm letting him do it, even if he's going to the rival. I'm dead serious. I'm not just saying this from a position of privilege, okay? Because he would be going to my school. Like, think about it this way, all right? The schools that are currently in the playoff and has been in the playoff out of the SEC are the schools that we all expected to. Alabama's probably going to be in the playoff again. Georgia's definitely going to be in the playoff again. Then, of course, Texas A&M will be in their first playoff. They'd never won anything. But at the same time, Texas A&M, a few years ago, they're recruiting 5 stars. It's a talent-rich state. They have a lot of money. It's not really a shock that A&M finally is breaking through. But if you would have said Ole Miss, think about all the Ole Miss types of schools in the SEC. You have Vanderbilt that will probably be on the outside looking in. I think Tennessee's going to take care of business. Arkansas, Kentucky, South Carolina. You saw how hard it was for them. They missed their shot last year. Couldn't get it done. Okay? There's so many more of those types of schools. Florida's not gotten close to a playoff. Lane has got you knocking on the door for the second straight year. You're going to the playoff this season. You're Ole Miss, and you want to kick him out? What? Sorry. Ole Miss is so short-sighted in all of this. Like, it makes no rational sense. And you know what Ole Miss fans would say to me? And I've gotten this. Well, we got to get the recruiting class ready for next year. F next year. F next year. Live in the now. Live in the now. Okay? What the hell are you talking about next year? Huh? You're Ole Miss. You're Ole Miss. Next year. This isn't Stranger Things where there's 5 seasons. This is your 1 season. Well, Carter, we made it last year. Yeah, with Lane Kiffin as your coach. And take advantage of him being there now. I mean, what are they thinking? What are you thinking? Okay? Like, it's funny. It's like your ugly friend that, and everybody likes to make relationship analogies. They are mostly funny. Okay? But if your ugly friend finally gets a 7 out of 10, that likes him, loves him, and they're broke, they're hairy, they're not even anything, and they move on, and your friend is ugly. She cheats on you 1 time and you still move on? Yeah, you should probably think twice. Forgiveness. That's the thing, Chance. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. And I don't know. Saban is your GOAT LSU coach. Is he the GOAT LSU coach? I mean, I think the safe thing as far as that is concerned, you just say there's not one. You just kind of put all 3 of them equally. Saban probably still is the best, though. Even though he was only here, you want to hear as long as basically the same time as O, but not as long as Les. But yeah, I think that's fair. I think most would say Les, but I don't know. Never winning 10 games when you had Leonard Fournette and Jamal Adams is crazy. Even though that 1 season where the McNeese game got canceled, they didn't win 10 because of a technicality there. But if you have Leonard Fournette and Jamal Adams and Arden Key, you shouldn't. Darius Guy, Dante Jackson, you should be winning 11 games at least once. I don't think that's too much to ask. Okay. Let's go to this. The Stadlers. Okay. Now, I'm actually glad you brought this up because what an Ole Miss fan would say to me after that long diatribe there is, well, who are you, Mr. LSU fan? You guys have not done anything in recent seasons. And to that, you are correct. We have not gone to a playoff. We've not really even been close to a playoff during the Brian Kelly era. And, we probably would have gotten in with I think 9-3 LSU with Jaden Daniels. The committee cheats to find a way to get us in. But to the Ole Miss fans that might be watching this and saying, who the F are you saying that about us when you've not been any good? And my response would be, you're right, but I got 3 natties in the past 2 decades. I'm not saying I'm content with where LSU football is, but I've gotten to see shit in my lifetime that I didn't think I'd ever see with 3 different head coaches. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman would be the highlight of quite a few programs over the past couple of decades. That would be the highlight of Kentucky's program since LSU has won 3 national championships. The highlight of Arkansas's program, all due respects to Darren McFadden, who probably should have won one of those. It would be the highlight of, let's see, maybe Tennessee's program. Probably so. Because, well, we know what happened to Tennessee in the playoff last year. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still sitting in a position of privilege. I've gotten to see a lot of stuff. Okay. And I think I do think LSU gets back on track. So once again, I haven't seen an Ole Miss fan bring this up in the comment section, but I think many would say that to my face. And look, some of that is justified because we aren't anybody right now. We are a sack of you know what. And it's right to point at our leadership and how the Brian Kelly contract thing was handled. You are correct about all of that. Just to play devil's advocate to my own argument, but I'm just telling you. Okay. And to your point, that's where have you been? Lynn, my North Louisiana friend. We also went to the SEC championship, which is something Ole Miss has not done. Okay. Nola P2763. He says the Magnolia Bowl will be so toxic if he leaves us when Ole Miss are playoff locks. And to that, that's a good thing. The powers that be would love that. Okay. So I would say, though, I do think the SEC would prefer Lane to stay in Oxford. I don't know. I've gone back and forth. What does the SEC want? If we're going to get tinfoil Hattie. Okay. Oh, you ain't got to tell me, bro. I went on that rant earlier. I'll tell you this. Does Charlie Weiss Jr. come with? I don't know. I hope so, though. That would be sick. That would be absolutely sick. But if he does come, he would need a raise as well, and he's already the highest paid OC. So you would have the highest paid head coach. You retain Blake Baker, highest paid DC, and then you'd also have the highest paid OC. There's also a few extra dominoes that I will not publicly share because I don't want to be one to say anything sensitive, right? But there are a few extra dominoes here that if you could simply connect the dots, you could probably figure those out. But there's a few different ones at play here that would lean LSU to Baton Rouge. So we'll see. These nuts says, how can you call anybody ugly? Did I call somebody ugly? I'm serious. Did I call somebody ugly? I might have. I don't know. Mississippi State probably shouldn't have played Kamario Taylor today, though, because the price of the brick went up. I guarantee you Kamario's first call was to his agent. And he said, put my ass on the market. Let them know. Let them know we are open for business. Well, TMB, here's the thing. As far as the final hour, you you don't know. If you knew how many times Florida fans said, "Hey, it's going to happen. It's happening," and then there's all these things. Hey, in the next 24 to 48, something could happen. It could. It could. Let's go to here. If he's serious about coming here, why would one game impact that? They were expected to beat Mississippi State. Or real Cass? Life is emotional. Okay. And I went on this rant a little bit earlier, but we recycle topics if we go along. Okay. You just played the Egg Bowl rivalry game. There was a fight at midfield. You hate the opposing team's athletic director because he took a shot at him at halftime. Well, if you're about that life and you see your players emotional, he hugged the chancellor, athletic director. It changes things. Okay. When JB follows up, if it was an emotional decision, he would have made it today. Well, who's to say he's not made it? You don't know. I mean, you say that, Carl, but you should stress. And I always mention to de-stress in this spot. Okay. But yeah, you should be stressed out. It's not necessarily because of Lane per se. It's just, let's just say Lane doesn't make that decision. Well, do you trust the powers that be to go on another search and find somebody else? You tell me. Okay. I think I see James Sells in here. James is my main man. He was, and I do owe an apology to James. He was in here early, and I set the live stream for 2 instead of 2:30, and it was always supposed to be a post-game live stream. Okay. Sourdough didn't even know the Egg Bowl was today. It should be on Thanksgiving night. Honestly, it should be. That's funny you bring that up, Mr. Nuts. So I talked to a Florida State source this morning. Randomly, he called me today. And, he knows people at Florida, and he was saying, hey, I think Florida's out of it. And then the real reporters came out and said that. But I did speak to a Florida State buddy. And I asked him about the opening. I asked him about what the heck is going on with Florida State. Why are they running it back with Mike Norvell? And it was money. It was money. They're not the most cash-strapped institution, and they are fighting to be with Florida, the flagship university. And Florida State has a really good medical program. So there's a lot of different things at play. And there's no need to fire Norvell, pay the buyout, and then be, the last man, joining the fray here. So it makes sense. I don't know. Do I think Austin Simmons follows him? Well, this would be, and this happens from time to time. It doesn't happen as much as it used to. But I do get sent high school reels quite a bit. And I thought it would actually increase because it's harder to make it as a high school recruit. So every bit of exposure is very important. And I kind of want to start a thing where I open up the door for Louisiana high school recruits to send me their huddle tape and we react to it live as an audience. See if we can get them some exposure because I'm starting to feel really sympathetic to high school recruits. Okay. But it's really, really, really hard to play quarterback at the collegiate level. It's really, really, really hard, okay, to get snaps. And my advice, if there are any high school quarterbacks watching, I doubt that. I think you have better things to do with your time. Play Fortnite or just whatever. But if there are high school recruits watching this, in particular quarterbacks, I would go somewhere where you could play. Go somewhere where you can play. I think it's always a risk if you do the Ty Simpson, Garrett Nussmeier thing. It's always a risk. Or Walker Howard, if you will. Because, you ultimately need to play. Think about it this way. We've been very sympathetic and try not to be too critical of how poor Michael Van Buren has been in his few starts. It's not been terrible, but it's not been great either. But he's burned his red shirt for our team, and he's going to burn it again tomorrow, walking into the toughest environment probably right now to play, Oklahoma, in a do-or-die playoff game. And it's going to be rowdy versus the best defense. So he's got the toughest matchup, and he's going up against Venables, who's probably the best defensive mind in the SEC, him or Durkin. So you give him a lot of credit, and the good thing is he got to play. He got to beat Kamario Taylor last year for Mississippi State because Blake Shapen got hurt. And yeah, his redshirt got burned, but he put good tape out there that LSU was like, hey, we're going to pay you this amount to come hold a clipboard. So Van Buren wouldn't have got what he got to come here if he didn't show what he showed last year. Theoretically, I don't know what his numbers exactly were. Okay. So if you're a young player, I get not playing a whole lot in year one. And in a perfect world, you're redshirting in year one. But by year two, you should be somewhere where you're playing. If you're not somewhere where you're playing, you need to get gone. You need to go somewhere. Okay. All right. I'm going to block him for a little bit. I think, Chance, that's been probably the simplest thing that's happened. Okay. And I think for me, that's part of Ole Miss's leverage, right? One more devil's advocate to my Ole Miss argument is I think part of Keith Carter's logic is, hey, if I'm very laissez-faire about what he wants to do, then this is one of the few times where I can potentially show leverage here by saying, look, we don't want you to get to have the best of both worlds. Commit to us now, or we're not going to let you do this thing. And even though I disagree with that line of thinking, it makes sense. But I think that's what Lane was expecting. Hey, I'm going to get to coach my team throughout the whole playoff. Are you calling me Mamba, or is there a Mamba in the chat? Do we miss out on Colton Nussmeier? No. I mean, you are, but he's in the class of 2027, and you already have a QB there. And unless Peyton Houston magically reclassifies to 2026, which I wouldn't recommend him do, it is that's the quarterback we chose. We chose not to go after. Well, I mean, we did go after Colton Nussmeier, but yeah. It sucks to be a Florida Gator. No, I would never put. I don't think I could go. I don't think I could do Mamba. There's only one Mamba, and his name is Brian Scalabrine. I'm kidding. Nah, Mamba's Kobe's nickname. I'm just ready for Derek Queen to be better than Jokic. Mississippi State played the LSU fight song, and then they also played "Should I Stay or Should I Go Now?" We're not talking about the jersey. Mm. I just can't believe the hotel house. I just can't believe Lane checked him, dude. Like, he really is Baton Rouge material if he checked him. It's just a thing of beauty, bro. That is a thing of beauty. Ha 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 ha. Oh man. Let me see. That's just crazy, bro. God, dude, you just can't get over that, dude. Yeah, no, I grew up in the Kobe era, James. I mean, no disrespect to Kobe, Mamba is just so iconic of a nickname. But you guys can call me whatever you want. I know my guy calls me Unk in here. I don't know if I like Unk. But it is crazy though. Like as much as I want Lane, I'm telling you, you guys will laugh at me. But there's nothing wrong about thinking about Glenn Schumann. Nothing wrong with that. Kirby's by far the best coach in the SEC. There's not a close second. I think Heupel's very good. I think Lane's very good, but Kirby's the best. So just go get a Kirby guy. Even though Schumann's defense has not been that great, they gave a big third down right there. They've been good so far today. Unless Schumann doesn't interview well, I'm a little shocked he's not gotten a head coaching job yet. If we get Lane, would I be at the press conference? Sure, I got to get my whole body shaved though if we get him. That wasn't my idea though. It was some other weirdo that recommended it. And I agreed to it. Okay. So we had the comment. I was scrolling Twitter to see if somebody was able to clip it. Okay. So this is the full comment here. I'm going way longer than I thought I'd go. Okay.
Or at least decent enough to say, man, this place has been awesome to me. But did you see that? Like, you have to qualify with, but did you see the Citadel last week? Like, dude, it's done. People are done with the trolling. It's old. This whole situation reminds me of a Project Pat line. Do you know what that Project Pat line was? Do you even know who Project Pat is?
I know who it is. I don't know what the line is.
Project Pata from 36 Mafia, right up in the road from here in New Albany, in Memphis, Tennessee. He said, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Hoes don't act right. And I feel it's appropriate because, I mean, tell me it's wrong. Like, dude, it is what it is. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Like, that's what's happened here.
We're
Like-
going to end this on a 666 Mafia quote.
3-6, not 666. You're so white. But you get what I'm saying? Like, dude, you knew what you were signing up for. All Ole Miss fans would say, it doesn't have to end messy, and you made it messy anyway, right? I don't know how you draw any other conclusion other than Lane Kiffin is leaving. This is his last year at Ole Miss. Maybe not his last. 3-6, not 666.
I'm going to play it
To a
again.
housewife. Hoes don't act right. From 3-6 Mafia, right up in the road from here in New Albany, in Memphis, Tennessee. He said, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Hoes don't act right. And I feel it's appropriate because, I mean, tell me it's wrong. Like, dude, it is what it is. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Like, that's what's happened here.
We're going to end this on a 666 Mafia quote.
3-6, not 666. You're so white. But you get what I'm saying? Like, dude, you knew what you were signing up for. All Ole Miss fans would say, it doesn't have to end messy, and you made it messy anyway, right? I don't know how you draw any other conclusion other.
I'm still kind of confused. I really am confused. I've listened to it twice. Before I make any declarative statement, I want to listen to it 4 more times. So is he is calling Lane Kiffin a hoe. I hate to use that word a gazillion times. Isn't that what that's? Credit goes to the show. Isn't that what he said? I mean, And look, I've gotten angry at Brian Kelly in particular this year. I've gone full unleashed before he was fired. So he was quoting Project Pat. Okay. I'm really not just saying this just to say it. Because as a lot of you know, I, in a lot of these instances, will side with the media member. Because the media member is covering the coach, and he's on a lower level than the millionaire state-employed coach, okay? Lane is right to be mad. I'm sorry. Lane's right to be mad about that. Because I'm playing it over and again, okay? Can't turn a hoe into a housewife. A hoe into a housewife because hoes don't act right. But that's you're calling. I'm sorry, dude. Like if I'm Lane and I'm taking that in, now. I will say this: I don't think Lane should base his decision on if he should go to one school or the other because of what that one reporter says. I think that would be unfair to quite a few different people. And then this is the interception here. So you're running Mills. Okay, it's Mills concept. It's just a great play, dude. Georgia's DB. Crazy work. But there's that RB fast play. Still can't be stopped. Yeah, but you guys know I normally side with the media. Okay. Like if it's 50-50, I'll side with the media a good bit. Not because I am one, because I'm not a press conference media member anymore. But normally if it's like kind of one of these things, I'll side with the reporter because that's the underdog. Most people are going to side with the coach. Dude, I think Lane has a right to be really mad about that. Now, should he have blown up at the reporter in front of all these people? I don't know. Oh, we get to see Malaysia Fulwiley play basketball tonight. Let's go. How about that Arkansas Duke game last night? Carlos Boozer's son is a baller. Old school post player. How about that? Reminds you of Storm Warren, but like very, very, very good. Come on, dude. I'll also say this, dude. You want to know the sign of a good coach? Like, so Lane's won all these games with, once again, position downgrades at every position on the team. Like, literally, think about that. Now, their wide receiver core as a whole is probably better, but they lost Trey Harris, who's better than any receiver they have on the team. Okay. But you want to know what makes Georgia so damn good is they can win in every style of a fight. Right? They can win ugly, they can win pretty, they can win in a shootout, they can blow your ass out. Let's go to Lin Lin. And by the way, she had the astute comment a little bit earlier. I think what he meant was they knew who Lane was when they hired him. That's probably it. So if that's the case, then you're really calling me a gardening tool. If you're saying, hey, we knew who you were all along, that's crazy to me. That is crazy to me. What card did I send you, Lin Lin? Which player did I send you? You know something else about Georgia? They only play starters on special teams. Dude, this dude is not backing down, bro. Look at this. This is what he had to say. Look at this. Kiffin didn't like he sought me out in the tunnel after the game to tell me. Ah, that's funny, dude. That is so funny. Oh boy, these comments. Oh shit. This is so good. This is so good. I can go live reading every one of these until my life is over, until God takes me to the afterlife. When he turned around and oh, that boy is not ready. Could you imagine covering Ole Miss your entire life, and you call the man who's made your program relevant for the first time in forever, and you call him a hoe? That is some wild shit, dude. It is so wild. It is so wild. Yeah, bro. You a gardening tool, bro. Spirit Ben. Once again, Spirit Ben, if you're watching it, you have an invite. I literally DM'd him. He sunned you. Oh, bro, this is my favorite story. All of this was worth it, even if he doesn't go to LSU. Lane. This is my guy Jacob. Laugh behind the keyboard all you want. Oh man, that's crazy. Big Jake. That's funny, bro. There's still time to delete this. David's my guy too. Really good sports betting guy. Big Florida fan though. That's the only thing. That is crazy, dude. That is crazy. Mm. That's just nuts, dude. Nuts. Not doing that to the coach that made me relevant. Just not happening. Cobble wouldn't disrespect Lane like Ben did. Oh man, that is funny. You know how this ends, right? Lane will make amends. I think Lane will make amends. I'm serious. But I will say, I will say, I would lose a good bit of respect for Ben if he doesn't apologize. And I understand, and especially nowadays, you would think now, back then, it was always better to just apologize. Say, hey, shouldn't have said it like that. Okay? Shouldn't have said it like that. But you gotta apologize. You do. A couple of one. And that's the thing, LA Mom. Do more Ole Miss fans feel Ben's way? I'm just saying. I would think they do. As crazy as that sounds, that's just nuts. That's just so nuts to me. It really is. It really, really, really is. Okay, like, and look, it's not wrong. I'm also not going to say it's not wrong to feel. You can feel how you want to feel. Him going to the Magnolia Bowl rival. If you want to hate the guy for forever, sure. Time heals all wounds, right? But if you do something great, if you really help me out, unless you really become like, I mean, this is football, right? Like, unless you do something truly evil that is hurting other people, like, if you did something great for me, then I'm gonna keep you in my corner, even if you decide to do something else. Okay. Oh, so he's already been live. Spirit Ben's already been live. Well, let's see if he wants to hop on. I literally DM'd him last week. Oh, so he was live for a full hour. Look, I'm sending him another message. I'd love Spirit Ben to come on here. Let's see. I'm gonna offer $50 for him to hop on right now. John Summerall. Is he going to Florida? Spirit Ben. Ben's statement was to say Lane hasn't changed, which he hasn't, but a head coach is paying attention to a podcast tells you all you need to know. Yeah, well, Brian Kelly follows me on Twitter. I don't know if he unfollowed me. That would probably be likely. I didn't reach out to him or anything like that for him to follow me. He just followed me. Yeah. It doesn't shock me that he's listening. I'll also say that probably made the rounds. Lane probably hears when you say something like that, you hear it. Okay. So does Lane? I don't know. I don't know. Now you got Ole Miss folks saying he's staying. Dave Portnoy tweeted out that if Lane goes to LSU, the comparison's valid. No, he's like their main Ole Miss reporter. I don't think he does like radio or anything like that for like the official Ole Miss flagship. Okay. But what I would say is you and I'm trying to remember everything that happened. So okay, this is what happened. We touched on it earlier. He was let go from the On3 site. All right. And then he was quickly hired back because he's such a popular Ole Miss reporter, but they were losing subscribers. Yeah, I there's no way that Lane doesn't know that guy's name. No way. If you're a regular at every press conference, the coach is going to know your name. Okay. That's just how that works. It is interesting though how many Ole Miss fans are on his side. Let me ask you this. And I don't want anyone in here to talk shit or whatever, or be big bad or whatever. Okay. If you were Lane Kiffin, how are you handling that? Are you walking off the field? You just won the Egg Bowl. You're part of the biggest coaching search in college football history, basically. Okay. How are you handling that? Okay, you know that this guy called you that. Okay. Type Y for yes, type N for no. You're letting that go. You're letting it go. All right. If you're typing Y, that means you're going into the press conference room, not bringing it up at all. If you type in, that means you're handling it like how Brian Kelly handles it. Be honest. So all of you are taking Lane's side. You're handling it how Lane handled it. You're confronting that reporter and dealing with all the extra BS that goes with it. I think younger me would have let it go. I really do think younger me would have let it go. So Clifford's the first person that says you just walk away. So Dex is also saying he's walking away. All right. I do think I'm confronting him. I think if it's 5 years from now, 5 years ago, I'm probably just going on and going on with my life. Okay. That's crazy. It's crazy. I just want to address this really quickly. Please drive safe. Dude, especially during the holidays when the roads are getting icier and all that stuff. Please, it's not worth speeding. My aunt went back to the Holy Land today, the 225, and she got back in one piece, thankfully. Like major highways scare me. Like driving in Texas, are you kidding me? Hell, driving around Baton Rouge. Oof. Dude, people drive crazy during the holiday season. I don't know what it is. Alcohol, all that stuff. I'll drive safe, man. Actually, I'm like that too, JN. I'm more scared of the 2-lane. Yeah. The backwoods. Okay. the funniest outcome, the absolute funniest outcome would be Lane saying, "Hey, I was leaning towards staying," and he actually was leaning towards staying, and it wasn't necessarily the reporter's comments, but it was the replies after the comments that got him. It is so funny though. He was wearing LSU headphones. Yeah, sure. What a freaking day, dude. I should have drove my ass to go to the Egg Bowl. That's yeah. Well, I'm just trying. It's one of those things where I'm just like, I'm hoping he tweets something else out. Okay. I was also giving him the chance because I offered and the offer still stands. I was going to offer him $50 Venmo to hop on the channel. So my streaming services, there's been 20,000 people that have watched this, which is cool. But I'm in it for the YouTube views. And there's not been 20,000 YouTube. watch the end of this Georgia game. Get ready to see both Tigers in action. Oh, Johnny, y'all want me to go live till Lane makes his decision? I don't mind. I can do it. I'd have to watch me eat, though. I could do a 24-hour stream, but just need a water bottle for obvious reasons. To hydrate myself, of course. Good try, Big Mill. I think Summerall to Florida could pop before Lane. Let's keep it going. Thank you, Frankie STTDB. Yeah, my dream PHL guest on there, the Badger. Maybe he'll come on now because he's got himself a little podcast. He had some great comments on Lane. The Badger, dude. The GOAT. The freaking GOAT. God. So 4th and 17, Georgia Tech's going to punt more than likely. I would just go. You know, but I appreciate you, Frankie. All right, so let's go to the sporting news. Let's see. No, I doubt it. And funny thing, I already I DM'd him last week to come on before any of this happened. I swear, hand on the Bible, I didn't hear the comment then. All right, y'all. That'll do it for me. We're not going to do a 1,000-hour live stream. We did go for how long have we been live? 2 hours and 42 minutes. Shout out to Cass, Frankie. We did not gain any new members though. And Team Thompson Bass Fishing for the Supers. Highly recommend you join our membership. All you got to do is go beneath the stream. You'll see a little join button. Click that. It helps you out in a major way. It's, I think, $3.99 a month. I do highly recommend, though, you join our Patreon. It's $9.99 a month. You get my extra film studies, game grades, and you also get access to the Discord server. We have an insider in there. So there you go. All right, y'all. If you want to see a film study of Lane Kiffin's offense, here it is. If you want to see the like a PHL style film study from this game, it's right there. Okay. So we'll talk to you soon. Yeah, it is. Power Hour LSU. Boom. Top super chatter, Mr. Bretson Cat. Coming in hot with a $15 Venmo. Really appreciate that, man. Talk to you soon. Tonight we're doing some Thanksgiving leftovers. Let's go.